To talk about emerging trends in the world of information technology, we're joined at the India Today studios at the World Economic Forum by the Chairperson of HCL Tech, Roshni Nadar. Roshni, thank you very much for your time. It's a pleasure to have you with us. There's so much conversation about recession the world over, especially here in Davos, and the concern that the tech winter back home could get darker and gloomier. What's the sense that you're picking up about how long this winter goes on for? And when does the winter give way for spring?
So thank you so much, Rahul. I'm so happy to be here. I think the mood was a little more doom and gloom in December. And since then, in January, we've just come out with our quarterly results. We've done, I would say, pretty well. And while in the short to medium term, we see some of the discretionary spend tapering off, I think most organizations all over the world are still very committed to their digital transformation. So from that perspective, I don't think that spend is going to necessarily come down. I think a lot of them are committed to their cloud migration. So that's another area where we're seeing momentum not slowing down. So I think it's much more sectoral, and I don't know, I think the sense that I'm getting is the fear of recession is perhaps a lot more than how big the recession is going to be.
Just a short while before now, Satya Nadella put out a post saying that they're sacking 10,000 people.
Yeah.
Now, that's a big number coming from a marquee brand. He's essentially talking about how companies are pulling back the pace at which they were hoping to push their digital journeys, and that it's coming down, which is having an impact on companies like Microsoft. How much of that are you feeling at HCL?
Well, I think what happened during the 2.5 years of pandemic was that all industries, including ours, really aggressively hired.
Mm-hmm.
And the rush to digital transformation was immense. So right now, what you're probably seeing is people just being a lot more conscious of costs, margin, inflation, wage as well. So I think this is much more of a reflection of that. We've aggressively hired over the last 2 years. We're still on our path to get more freshers, but we've also leveled out a little bit. But the good news is that from the levels of attrition that we had, which were around 32%, now we're at least down to the early 20s. Which is good.
Good news from your perspective, but techies though not so happy with the fact that offers are fewer, still many, but fewer than the past. Do you think some sense of sanity is coming back to just how those salary needles were moving and people were jumping multiple offers in pockets?
I think maybe generally average wage has gone up. But, I think that some of the action in the startup space. I think a lot of people who were also leaving our companies were joining startups, and so I think some of that has kind of tempered off, and so we hope that it continues to improve.
One of the big controversies in the IT sector has been around moonlighting. It's been a big debate. Rishad kick-started the debate when he came out strong against moonlighting. How big an issue is this for you at HCL?
So it's not an issue at HCL Tech. We have very few cases, at least those that we know.
Are you looking hard enough?
We're looking hard enough. And, the thing is that almost 70% of our workforce is now working from home. And it's from tier 3, tier 4 cities. And, we've had records of performance. We've had records of productivity. So I don't consider, at least at HCL Tech, for it to be such a big issue.
And you're okay with most of the workforce being home? Because in India and in the US and elsewhere, we've seen companies draw very strong lines in the sand saying, okay, you have to come back to work at least 3 times. Many going to the extent of saying either you're back at work or you can go back home.
No, I think, Rahul, for us, at least 6 quarters ago, even CVK mentioned that we were proactively adopting the virtual first model, and where if employees want to come back to work 2 to 3 times a week, they can if they're in that geography. What we've discovered over the last year, and I've personally visited as well, there are 30 to 35 cities in India where we've got more than 1,000 employees each. And that's not Bangalore, that's not Chennai, that's not Noida, and that's not Hyderabad. So when they've moved back, and that cost of living and just generally moving back to cities is that much more expensive, that the employee today is a lot more empowered than they were before. And like you mentioned earlier, they have more options. So I think that you have to work in a much more collaborative manner. And like I said,
and for you, it's not impacting performance negatively. In fact, you're saying that you're seeing people perform better.
Yeah.
And you see that being a long-term trend?
I think it's the way people work has changed quite a bit.
One of the things that you've been piloting here at the World Economic Forum is Aquapreneur, where you're trying to find sustainable, tech-driven solutions to water challenges. Give us a sense of how that project is going and what you're trying to turn that idea into reality.
So HCL has partnered with Uplink at WEF, which is their open innovation platform, to source technology innovations as well as solutions from all over the world on freshwater restoration, data, water resilience, and a lot of the solutions that exist. So HCL committed 15 million over 5 years. And every year, we're going to run a global innovation challenge, and we're going to find 10 aquapreneurs from all over the world and provide them seed capital for scaling their idea. And so in 5 years, if we do it 10 every year, we should have 50 aquapreneurs, 50 innovative tech-driven or data-driven solutions for fresh water.
So which are the ideas that have caught your imagination so far and look really exciting at this point?
So we just given our first set of grants. So I met with 2 of our aquapreneurs today, and one of the aquapreneurs was based out of San Francisco, and he was using what astronauts use in space in terms of water recycling. What is the water that they actually drink? And applying that to infrastructure development and seeing how within, let's say, a large real estate project, all the water that is consumed is actually recycled and brought back into the system. And then there's a lady out in Argentina, and she's using a SaaS model that whatever water farmers conserve, they can actually sell those as water credits to companies who are aiming to go net zero on carbon and aiming to get water credits. So it's a model for them, and it's a SaaS platform on which they sign up, and then they've got companies signing up. So it's a monetary, it's for them to have additional income, but also help companies get to net zero.
And you hope to bring some of this back to India?
Yes. So I think for me at least, one of the reasons for doing this is figuring out all the innovation in the world. But water is a huge issue, especially in our country. And if we can actually get some of these entrepreneurs and their solutions to even scale or pilot in India, it can only help.